Okay, Isaiah Likely. I see how it is. We see how it is. Could have been a beautiful Thanksgiving. Just wonderful. Could have gone to bed, smile on our face, bellies full, wallets thicker than they were before the game started. But no, you had to fumble at the goal line, and wash all of our dreams down the drain. But that's okay. Can't stop us. We got 12 more games for week 13. We're going to hit them right now. Hey, Dave Lockman. Here's his picks for every game. Well, the 12 remaining on Thanksgiving week, we're going to hit each and every one of them, give you my takes, and more importantly, give you the information that I think is necessary for you to make the decisions on your own if need be. And by the way, shouldn't need to tell you guys this. Was I serious and pretty disappointed that Isaiah Likely parlay that many of us were on didn't hit? Yeah, obviously. But don't go sending the guy hate messages and stuff. He clearly didn't try to fumble the ball at the goal line. It just so happens that in this case, we were not the beneficiaries of that whatsoever. We did go 2-1 on sides, though. I have no idea what Black Friday brings us because it's 1:30 on Friday as I record this. But hopefully we go 3-1 heading into Sunday. So let's dive straight into this. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It's free. And if you appreciate this content, that hype option, hit that. I'm told it goes a long way and helps get this video out to more people. So I appreciate you guys in advance. Let's make it happen. Yes, the Houston Texans on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. All right, so interesting game here. You look at last game for the Texans, right? We were on them on that Thursday night game against Buffalo for this very reason. I mean, when you've got guys like Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, just absolute headhunters on that D-line, and then an excellent secondary, that can cause some serious problems, man. You look at this, you look at what happened. They sacked Josh Allen 8 times. And I know you guys were watching that game, so you're going to know exactly what I was talking about. Josh Allen would drop back, and then he would turn this way to get away from the pressure coming this way. And then there's somebody in his face over here. So he turns back, and now there's 2 over here. And then he goes backwards, and there's 3 of them back there. Like, totally, truly inescapable pressure that they brought on Josh Allen last game. And now you've got a guy in Daniel Jones who has a, ready for this, fractured fibula. That doesn't sound good. He has apparently been playing through it, and they say there was one report saying that he looked fine at practice and another saying that he didn't have, the same zip on the ball and the same juice that he previously did. But I went back and forth on this. At first, I was like, man, I kind of like the Colts. And now it's moved to 3.5. It was 4.5. It's like they could just run it heavy with Jonathan Taylor. He's got a 19.5 rushing attempts prop this week. So seemingly that should be the case. But this is also a Houston defense that is very capable. Meanwhile, a divisional spot and a very important game for both teams that based on defense alone can keep this competitive. You would expect to see C.J. Stroud back from the concussion after missing 2 games. Or was it 3 games now? It's definitely 2.5, right? And it might have been, is it 3? 3? Probably 2.5. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Here's what I'd say. The Texans outside of a field goal, I do think this defense is good enough, and I think this pass rush is good enough against the guy in Daniel Jones who does not handle pressure particularly well, even though the Colts have a good offensive line. I went back and forth, but right now I'm actually leaning Texans plus 3.5. I don't think Stroud's that big of an upgrade over Davis Mills, to be honest with you, but that's besides the point. They should still be able to keep this game competitive enough with the defense and make this to come down, hopefully, the way we'd play it to a field goal at the end of regulation, which honestly feels like that's the way this game could play out. 49ers at the Browns. All right, you already know what we got to do here, right? Browns at home. Browns have covered the spread at home every single time this year. This game, listen up because this gets interesting. You're talking like near freezing, if not freezing temperatures, 25 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds with the potential for them to be higher. And this is straight from the weather report that I read this morning. And not only that, but rain and then turning to snow potentially mid-game. So, I mean, look, if you were to take a situation, be like, man, Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions without the wind last week, and now you put him up against an absolute ferocious, unstoppable beast in Myles Garrett, right? Now, Shedeur Sanders is clearly the weak link here. Maybe not the weak link compared to Dylan Gabriel, but he's certainly not, an elite level quarterback, at least not yet. Who knows? I don't get into that conversation. What I can say is that just because he threw like a 60-yard screen pass for a touchdown last week, I'm not anointing him as the next guy in Cleveland, especially given their history of drafting quarterbacks over the years and being unable to develop them. But I like him at home, man. I always will. 5-point dogs here. It's just too good of a defense, especially at home. Too much pressure they can bring on a quarterback. Yes, you have way more talented offensive weapons on the San Francisco 49ers. But guess what? When you've got great defenses like you do in Cleveland, this type of weather, this type of wind, this type of precipitation can really neutralize a matchup and balance the playing field. And I think Cleveland, far more than the San Francisco 49ers, benefits from getting into a game like this that is affected by the weather. And we've seen that more than once in the past. As always, give me the Browns +5. Let me know. Are you guys going to ride with me on the Browns again? Because for the most part this season, it's been very good to us at home. Or are you going to buck that and go, you know what, 49ers here, got to do it. Even with the 3 picks last week, Purdy and company still got another win. What was it, a double-digit win at home against the Panthers? Let me know down below. I try and read and respond to all of those. One of my favorite parts of the week, checking in, especially you guys commenting on my intro from the Thanksgiving games. Appreciate that. That was a lot of fun because I knew you guys would be able to relate to something like that for sure. Titans at home against the Jaguars. Yeah, they're 6-point favorite. They're dogs. Somebody commented, was it a week or 2 ago, 2 weeks ago, when they were facing Houston, like, you know why I can never take a guy like this seriously? Because he's still like, he's betting the Titans, even though like the most profitable trend over the last, since the beginning of last season has been betting against the Titans. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that my track record betting the Titans since the beginning of last season isn't exactly pure. But I also, when someone leaves a comment like that and ignores the fact that they have a different head coach, that they had Brian Callahan from the beginning of last season, then you're just kind of either being intentionally deceptive or you're just ignoring very important context. And now, believe it or not, this is a Tennessee Titans team, right, that is still not good at all. And I think we would all agree with that. It's still a bad football team, but a Tennessee Titans team that has now covered the spread in 3 straight games, believe it or not. And what's the difference? I don't know. Maybe it's that Brian Callahan is gone, or it's just that a team can't continue to not cover the spread every single week for the rest of the season and into the next. It's just, not only is it unlikely, it's impossible, right? So +6 here at home against the Jaguars team that I thoroughly don't believe in, sure. But I'll give you something better that I like. And I threw this up on Tails already. That is where all my bets go every week for free. All of my sides before this video hits YouTube. All of my props before any of my videos come out. And many, not just that, every prop that I bet, the majority of my bets, you'll never find on YouTube because I can't make a video every time I bet something. But everything I bet, I throw up on Tails for free every single week. Be it same game parlays, ladder plays, props, sides, all of that stuff. Just use the link in the description and give me a follow. That's it, at Loughy, Loughy. Follow me, turn on notifications, and we'll sweat these games together. I'm not going to ask you to open your wallet, nothing like that. You create a free account, nothing else included. Just hit me up there, follow me, turn on notifications again, and all of this will pop straight to your phone. The coolest part, though, is if you click tail, the AI mapping we have will show you all of the best odds, and then you can just click that book, and it'll auto-load the bet into your bet slip. So if it's like a 5-leg parlay, you don't have to do anything. It literally just pops up on FanDuel or DraftKings or Caesars or something like that. Why go anywhere else, man? So come hit me up over there if you haven't done so yet. I posted Cam Ward over 11.5 rushing yards for this game, which is actually the bet I like most. This guy has run for 70 yards combined over the last 2 weeks. I believe 33 and 37 respectively. And the reason I say that is I don't think it's fluky. Mike McCoy takes over, and now you see him running again. And when asked about it, Mike McCoy goes, you know what? This is just the next step in his development, and this is what we wanted to see. He goes, we've been on him about that, about taking those free yards when they're opened up, about scrambling, because those extra 3, 4, 5 yards can go a long way instead of just throwing the ball away or misfiring and creating bad decisions. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but that's what he was saying. So I know he's not a natural runner, but he's still athletic. And they want him to take advantage of those spots. So over 11.5 rushing is a spot I already bet. And if you want to grab that too, head over to Tails, one click, tap it or tap it, and it'll take it straight to your bet slip. Miami Dolphins at home against the Saints. I'm leaning Dolphins here at -5.5, but we still got to wait on some things. Not really Alvin Kamara because I don't think he plays. I can't wait to see what Devin Neal's props look like. I will absolutely be looking to bet something if we get a good number there, and that'll go to tails as well, as you guys already know. But I would lean Dolphins. The only tough part here right now is that Chris Olave really is like an elite receiver, and I'm not sure people give him credit for that because he's dealt with injuries in the past, and he's had such terrible quarterbacking. But even with Spencer Rattler and even with Tyler Shuck, this is still somebody that on the year has put up some really good numbers, right? Like he's if he stays healthy, he's going to clear 1,000 yards easy with terrible quarterbacking and a team that, opposing defenses can just key in on him. He's really, really good. If he's out in this game, they are super limited. They don't even have Brandon Cooks anymore. He's in Buffalo now. So you're talking about like Devon Vele, Tipton, and those type of guys, Dante Pettis, Juwan Johnson, and Alvin Kamara likely out as well, although he's clearly in the twilight of his career. I'd like to see what they have in Devin Neal because Kendre Miller's on the IR as well. But Dolphins right now at home, I'd lean -5.5. I want to wait on the injury news here for sure, but that's the spot looking at it at this current time, 1:38 Eastern time on Friday, would lean Dolphins because I'm not sure how much juice is left in the tank for that Saints team if they keep dropping like flies on offense. Cardinals at the Bucks. Bucks -2.5. Again, I will keep this short. I do think Baker Mayfield plays. They're 2.5-point favorites here. I don't know. He has an AC sprain in his non-throwing shoulder. Clearly was in a lot of pain on that Hail Mary attempt towards the end of the first half and that bludgeoning they took against the Rams on national television on, Sunday or Monday. That was brutal. But I do think he plays. He was limited on Thursday. He was back on the practice field today. I don't know if it was a full or limited participant because we don't have those reports yet, but he was on the field. Meanwhile, Jacoby Brissett, you got to give the guy some credit, right? Like, they're losing most of the games he plays. The only one they won was against the Dallas Cowboys. But a bunch of those losses were by one score, and some of them against good teams like the Indianapolis Colts. They got trashed by San Francisco and by the Seattle Seahawks, and some of that was Brissett's fault, but the defense has not been particularly good. We'll say Michael Wilson looks like a stud. I know it took a long time, and maybe this is just a fluke, but he's catching everything thrown to him and putting up 300-plus yards in back-to-back games with Marvin Harrison Jr. out. This dude looks awesome right now. But still, if you're giving me the Bucks inside of 3 in what is, realistically an extremely important game for this team, because they're not, they've been losing more games than they've been winning of late. You think about it, you look at the NFC South, they're 6-5. The Panthers are 6-6. Are they likely to lose this week against the Rams? Yeah, they're likely to lose against the Rams. They're 10.5-point home dogs, and they're likely not going to have J.C. Horn, other defensive players, their starting center. We'll get to that game in a second. But the Bucks are 6-5. You win this game, very good chance that you go up, what would it be? A game and a half in the division, because the Falcons are toast. The Saints are toast. The Cardinals at 3-8 are toast. They're the only bad team in the NFC West. You have to come and get a win if you're the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I think they're going to look to get Baker Mayfield out there if they can. Bucky Irving is back. Chris Godwin was back, but you wouldn't know so based on the box score last week. Teddy Bridgewater and Baker couldn't do a damn thing. But that Rams team, I'm not sure there's a single team in the NFL that could beat them right now. That's not a good barometer for who the Tampa Bay Bucks are, especially given that they were dealing with injuries as well. Right now, if you get Baker and you get it inside of 3, that's the spot I'd be looking. Rams at the Panthers. I'm not betting this game, but I genuinely did consider betting the Panthers just because nobody is going to do it. Now, I'll just give you a lean. I'll say lean Rams, but I don't want to bet this, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers cover. Why? Because I'm going to say this, it's only 10.5. Like, I think it feels like it should be more than 10.5, which quite frankly worries me. You got a lot of people like, well, I make this game at 12.5, 13.5. It's like, the number's 10. I'm not necessarily confident enough in myself to think that I can just, outsmart Vegas on NFL sides, the most liquid and popular market in the entire world, the entire country. J.C. Horn's not practicing. He should be out. If J.C. Horn is out, that is a big deal, man. They're already dealing with injuries in the defensive backfield. And now you've got Matthew Stafford, who is a front runner to win the MVP with -200 odds, with Puka Nacua J.C. Horn can erase players. You take him off the field, you got problems, especially when you have Adams and Puka Nacua. I mean, my God, man, this is a tough, tough spot. So I'm leaning Rams here because of the on-paper matchup. It just massively favors the Rams. It already would have, but now with these injuries, assuming those guys are out, even more so. And yeah, Bryce Young at home has been okay outside of that Saints game. Tedoroa McMillan's a very nice young player, but they're super limited in the options in the passing game once you get past that. And Rico Dowdle's cooled off over the past few weeks. I mean, I just don't know how they're going to do it. Are you guys, I would assume if I asked this question and you answered in the comments, most of you are probably hitting the Rams. And again, on paper, that makes sense. But these are always those spots that make me very, very uncomfortable. Similarly, we had that 3-team teaser, 6.5-point teaser or 7-point teaser the other week where we had, what was it? There were 2 teams that hit easily. And then the Seahawks, who should have easily covered that. We needed them to win by 7 or more. And Cam Ward and company come down, drive down, end up losing the game by 6, and we lose. I say that not to bring back up, bad memories, but more so to say these games that feel like a mega lock oftentimes end up not being mega locks, like the Detroit Lions 10.5-point home favorites against the Giants needing overtime to win that game. Football it's fickle, man. It's absolutely fickle. That's why I try and pick our spots. Falcons at the Jets. This is 3 in a lot of spots. It's -2.5 on Bet365 right now, which is why, I give you the public service announcement every week. Pick your spots, but make sure that you are on the right sports books. And I'm not saying there's a single best sports book that is right, but Bet365, as far as not even sides, a lot of our alt props that we bet when we ladder these plays over on tails, and we're laddering guys up to 100 yards or, 70 yards or 50 yards for Hunter Henry like we did the other week. When we do that stuff, I want to get the best odds because they can be dramatic. You could be getting 10-1 odds on a 100-yard ladder and then 7-1 elsewhere. Bet365, those type of odds are better than anywhere else. If you're not there yet, that link in the description gets you $200 in bonus bets, and all you have to do is bet $5 on a $10 deposit. That's it. Click the link, deposit 10, bet 5, win or lose, $200 in bonus bets. And they have 50% super boost with pretty decent limits over there as well on a ton of these games, not just for NFL, but other sports. If you're not there and it's in your state, I'm telling you right now, that's one of the best possible books that you could be at, especially if you're doing what we're doing and betting a lot of those ladders and SGPs. But I would lean Jets here. All right, cue the booze. It's gross, right? Who wants to bet the Jets? Yeah, okay, who wants to bet the Falcons, though? Both of these teams, who the hell knows what's happening each week? And the Falcons can come and get their dicks kicked in, and then they can come beat the Saints 24-10, and then they can beat the Buffalo Bills, and then they lose to the Niners, and then they lose 30-0 to Miami. That's out of order. I understand that, but you get the point. The Jets inside of a field goal at home with Kirk Cousins on the other side, Drake London not expected to play, Darnell Mooney being a guy that outside of that one big throw, they haven't been able to connect with him all year long, and Kyle Pitts is just a ghost. Yeah, Bijan's the man. He's awesome. But guess what? Breece Hall has a very similar rushing plus receiving prop. It's over 100 yards on FanDuel this week. Tyrod Taylor is not a downgrade from Justin Fields. As a matter of fact, he's an upgrade. So yes, you are getting them, the Jets as 2.5-point home dogs in this spot. I meant to say that earlier. The Jets as 2.5-point home dogs. I mean, yeah, you want that. Like I said, if you want the Falcons, you find them at 2.5. If you want the Jets, try and find them at 3 because they were out there. But yeah, I come on. I'm not putting my money on the Falcons right now. As crazy as it sounds, I'd rather put my money on the Jets as 2.5-point home dogs because I don't think the talent imbalance, honestly, is all that bad, given that you have Kirk Cousins at the helm and no Drake London. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I welcome the comments. It makes this video a whole lot more fun. Oh, and by the way, 21 years or older to gamble. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER, referring back to that Bet365 read. All right, Vikings, Seahawks. What do we do here? What do you do here? What are we going to do here? I mean, you have Max Brosmer starting. He's an undrafted rookie. But quite frankly, he can't be worse than J.J. McCarthy. And I'm serious. You can't be worse than J.J. McCarthy at this stage of the game. J.J. McCarthy is going to make Justin Jefferson retire at the age of like 26 or whatever he is, 27. He's going to make him retire. Maybe he's older, but you get the point. Seriously, If J.J. McCarthy was not concussed on that play, I'm sure Justin Jefferson made sure he was after the game. I mean, they're in dire straits out there in Minnesota. And now you're going up against Sam Darnold, man. Come on. Sam Darnold, who they let walk, who had a wonderful season for them. What were they? What were they, like 13-4 or 14-3 last year? Yeah, they lost in the postseason to the Rams, but the Rams are a great football team. Darnold started to collapse late, but boy, would they like to have Sam Darnold right now over J.J. McCarthy. Shit, they'd rather have Carson Wentz right now over J.J. McCarthy. It's just the way it is. It's 11.5 points. I'd probably still lean Vikings at plus 11.5. But how much, seriously, when you think about this, how much of the Vikings losing these games by a lot of points recently was the result of J.J. McCarthy just turning the ball over and putting them in terrible positions, right? Like 2 interceptions in 3 straight games. They only lost by 8 to Baltimore. They lost by 2 to Chicago, and they got smoked by Green Bay. But again, 2 interceptions. If you're Max Brosmer, you just don't do, you let the defense do enough, right? 11.5 points is a lot. And this is why I said, you guys tell me where you're going. Because again, people like the big favorites here, but it's outside of 10. I mean, outside of a significant key number. While I think Sam Darnold wants a little bit of revenge, I also think there's a matter of, I mean, how much revenge is there? He should be sending the Minnesota organization a gift basket, send them some lotion and some fruit, whatever it may be. You got to go to Seattle where you guys are 8-3. Meanwhile, is the revenge, isn't it enough revenge to see the Minnesota Vikings dwelling in the cellar of the NFC North? I don't know. Maybe I've got this all backwards. But I do think the Minnesota Vikings still have a good defense. And much of what we've seen recently is the result of bad turnovers. And if Max Brosmer can limit that, then you're going to have a different looking game here. It's that simple. I'd lean Minnesota plus 11.5, but should be interesting to see what happens there. 2 games to go. Bills, Steelers. Steelers, 3.5 point home dogs. This is a weird one because both of the Bills' starting tackles are out. Their left and right tackle are out. Why does that matter? Well, I don't know. Josh Allen just took 8 sacks last week, and Pittsburgh, while their secondary stinks, has one of the best pass rushes in the league. Yeah, I'd argue that could be a problem if you're Josh Allen this week. No? I mean, the fact that you have TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward, these type of guys that can get after you, that's not great at all. And I really wanted to go Bills here. I genuinely wanted to go Bills, but you're getting Mike Tomlin outside of a field goal at home. Aaron Rodgers is back, not to say that he's been a world beater this season, but you've got 2 guys in Jaylen Warren and, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, Kenny Gainwell, who have actually performed well on the ground in good spots. And Buffalo is a clear pass run funnel defense. We have seen other teams have extraordinary success by getting after Josh Allen and doing enough on the ground to keep possession and take the ball out of his hands and drive it downfield. So yeah, I think the Steelers at plus 3.5 in another cold, potentially windy game could be a spot that's worth getting to. Let's round this one out with the Chargers at home against the Raiders. All right, I don't need to say much in this one, right? Number one, I will remind you before we get to this game one more time, hit me up over on Tails. I do this video. I love doing this video for you guys, try and give you as much information as possible. But there are so many developments on Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes even Sunday mornings, that while I love to get bets in on Mondays and Tuesdays for the upcoming games, when it comes to props, we don't have them till later in the week. And oftentimes we don't even have them till later than that once you get the Friday practice reports. So that's where to go. Just download the app, the Tails app, or click that link in the description and you're in. But I say all this because there might be some good opportunities in this game. I got to take the Raiders here at plus 9.5. Now, the thought probably is, why would you do that when Geno Smith just got sacked 10 times last time out for the world to see, and Myles Garrett absolutely annihilated him? Sure, well, Chargers don't have a Myles Garrett, but also I think it's a little bit more complex than that, a little bit more nuanced. The Chargers, anytime they are a big favorite, are simply not a team I trust. That's it. As little as I trust the Raiders, you guys try and tell me. And I'm an Eagles fan, but I love the Chargers in the AFC. I love them, always have. Going back to LT, and the Powder Blues. How do you not? Phillip Rivers days, Antonio Gates. Come on, man. But no, I can't do it. 9.5 points for this team. They find ways to just keep other teams in it. They do it all the time. I think they win this game. I think they get after Geno. But you still have talents like Brock Bowers and Gentry. Like, they still have some weapons on offense. They do. And their run defense is good. They're a pass funnel defense in Las Vegas. Do they get a pick or two? You know, we saw the Tennessee Titans do that and cover against the Chargers only a few weeks ago because they had what? Like a defensive touchdown and a kick return touchdown. Weird things happen. And the Chargers are the worst team, in my opinion, to lay big points on. So that may sound like a ridiculous explanation, but it just so happens to be the case every single time. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving and a good weekend. And I will catch you back here, Monday, picks for Monday Night Football, then Thursday, Tuesday, of course, for picks for every game. You know where to find me, right here, over on Tails, and on Twitter at Loughy. You saw my handle earlier in the video. Good luck, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.